Hey, it's me, Mr. T, and this is the 7th episode of Boring Tattooer. In this video, I will outline the process of how I design my tattoos and what work is required to do this. I'll share with you how I source high-quality images, which tools and tricks in Photoshop make my design process easier, and how I present my projects to the client. There's also a full design lesson available on my website, roshin.com, where I explain the whole process step by step, using one of my favorite projects as an example, from the client's idea to the finished design. In my lesson, you'll learn how to best place each element of the project on the skin utilizing the anatomical features of that part of the body. I'll teach you how to use all the necessary tools in Photoshop, which will allow you to quickly edit images and create projects that showcase your artistic vision. And most importantly, I'll show you how you can make your designs look great from any distance and stay readable after years of wearing them by your clients. If after watching this video you want to dive deeper into working with images and learn how to create unique compositions, make sure to check out the link in the description to this episode. I want to note that I do only black and gray tattoos, and everything I'm talking about relates specifically to tattooing in black and gray. The principles of creating a color tattoo are very different, and I'm not the best person to tell you about it. The process of designing a tattoo for me almost always starts with the client's idea. In some cases, my clients will completely entrust this process to me and just give me some minimal guidelines. Examples of work they like and themes that are important to them. In other cases, my projects are based on the ideas of my clients, their memories, interests, lifestyle, and so on. The more interesting the information is that I can find about a person, the more vivid story I can render in the form of a tattoo on their body. Most of my projects are arm sleeves. Arms are one of the most visible parts of the body and are often uncovered. We use our hands all throughout the day. They're always in sight. We shake hands with other people, open doors with our hands, drive a car, pay in the store, use a phone, cook food, cover our face from sunlight. And perhaps most importantly, we can look at them and display tattoos on them without looking unusual at any time of the day and in any place. At the same time, the arm can be a difficult area for placing large, realistic compositions. When planning a sleeve, you need to keep in mind multiple factors: the size of the arm, muscle volume, the thickness of the fat layer, which largely determines how strongly the muscle relief will appear, the condition and tone of the skin, the number of moles, age spots, and other features of each individual person. To keep it simple, however, we can agree that nearly everyone's arm has the same bones and muscles, which means that with some experience, we can roughly guess which part of the arm will wear certain images better and which zones are better to avoid when placing important parts of the design. As we are tattoo artists, those things become clear for us over time due to experience. But for our clients, it's sometimes very difficult to visualize an idea on a selected body part. To make this process easier for both parties, many tattoo artists will digitally edit images in advance using a composite of found images and photographs of a client's body part. However, you may not have the opportunity to see the client in advance or photograph this area on his body where the tattoo will be. Even though I ask all my clients to send a photo of the part of the body to be tattooed, I rarely use these photos. In most cases, the photos were taken at an angle that isn't useful or in poor lighting. These pictures, however, are important. In seeing them, you can understand a person's complexion, muscle tone, and skin condition. One solution I found back in 2014, after having grown frustrated in searching for model images online, was to find a model and arrange a photo shoot, shooting nearly all of his body in high resolution. Creating my own stock images gave me the angles I needed and with a black background. This worked for my preferences, and I've been using those photos during all these years in the process of creating my tattoo designs. By the way, all these photographs in high resolution are available to purchase on my website. See the link in the description below. Having such high-quality images greatly simplifies the design process, and more importantly, it allows me to visually demonstrate to clients how certain images will look on the skin. If the client's complexion is very different from the complexion of my model, I have the option to edit, stretch, or squeeze the model reference photo a little bit without making it look strange. The next stage is the search and selection of images. In rare cases, the client may provide high-quality photographs that can be used for the design. In most cases, though, I have to search for such images myself. Even when the client has a very clear description of his idea, what objects, characters, and background should be in the composition, often we, tattooers, understand which angles of those objects will look better visually with the background or other objects. Because of this, I like to have my own sources for images. In addition to Google, stock photo banks like Shutterstock help me a lot in this search. In most cases, you can find a number of options for the same objects, landscapes, or people in the right poses. You can always download your favorite photo from these sites in lower resolution and with watermarks to try them on. If this photo suits you and you want to use the full version, a monthly subscription to some of these services allows you to download originals. It's not too expensive, and I definitely recommend that. As a tattoo artist, you take advantage of these services and invest your money on high-quality reference images. Now that we have built up the basis for our design, which consists of the photograph of a part of the client's body and all the necessary images, we can proceed to create a design or sketch, call it whatever you want. For software, I work in Adobe Photoshop. I know this application quite well, and during the design stage, I do not need any other tools. Some tattoo artists prefer to use Procreate on an iPad. I have nothing against it, but I prefer to work on the larger screen and have more precise control of my image via keyboard shortcuts that also speed up my work a little. Using this software, I lay out the images on the body in different ways. Remove unnecessary elements, add those that can help to perceive the overall picture correctly, adjust the contrast and brightness of objects, and simplifies secondary elements and backgrounds. A little tip: in Photoshop, as well as many other editors, there are different blending modes for layers. The easiest and most convenient way to try on a black and white image on the skin is to put a layer with a picture on top of a photograph of a body part and select the multiply blending mode for this layer. After this, you may find that you want to increase the brightness of the picture or adjust the contrast, because you will see the same image as if it were already on the body. Instead of white, the picture will have more of a skin tone, which greatly reduces the overall contrast, and it can become more difficult for the eyes to see this picture clearly, especially from far away. In this case, use of the Levels tool helps a lot, allowing you to manipulate the white, gray, and black points in your design. By simply shifting the white point and sacrificing some details in the lightest area of the image, you can greatly improve the visibility of that image on the skin. Also, don't forget that the computer screen or tablet are backlit, and we see photos on them much more brightly than when printed on paper, or even more so when transferred to skin. Try to keep at least 30% of the negative space or blank areas in the photo so that the tattoo has a good contrast and doesn't turn into a grayed out mess over the years as it is on the skin. To me, a good black and gray tattoo is always a balance between bare and tattooed skin. And this balance will largely determine how the tattoo will present itself throughout life and how easy it will be to read after many years. By the way, one of the reasons why the photographs of my model were taken against a black background is that when you digitally put some images on the skin in Photoshop, there is no need to erase parts of the image that are outside the visible area of this part of the body. When using multiply blending mode in Photoshop, the layer with the picture is not visible on a black background, and because of that, it doesn't interfere with the perception of the design. I know that these areas exist, and I can roughly imagine how they wrap around the body, as well as how much they will be visible on the back of an arm or leg. Sometimes, even with my many years of experience in this field, I find that when transferring images to the body, it turns out that one or another part of the design doesn't fit well with the client's anatomy, and the design process continues after I meet the client. It can also happen that during the process of brainstorming on the design, the client suggests alternative options which in the end may sit on the body better than those that were available at the beginning. There is no need to insist on the first vision of this idea. Sometimes the most interesting solutions come unexpectedly, and ultimately the tattoo will be on the client, so their influence is important. After the design has been approved by the client and I am also satisfied with it, I can start working on a stencil and transfer the image to the skin. But this will be the theme for the next episode. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, hit the like button, and if you find this information useful, make a post on Instagram or share a story with the link to this video. If you want to learn more about my designs, take a look at the link in the description. As always, this show is sponsored by Bishop Rotary, makers of the best tattoo machines and supplies in the industry. Thank you all and see you soon. Bye bye.